What up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the review for. Why did it do that? This is the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This is season 11. This is episode number 16, I believe it is. I don't know what the name of the episode was. Shit. I hate this phone. The name of the episode is Threats and Promises, you guys. Now, with that out of the way, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you're not yet subscribed to the channel, I need you guys to do me a solid favor and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the notification bell button, light all the buttons up on the channel. And without further ado, you guys, let's talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. His truck sounds terrible. Alright, you guys, so we pick up where we left off last week with the dinner party from hell part 2, right? So we pick up with Erica going off on Sutton. What are you going to do? Nothing. Or what? Or what? Or what? Like, or nothing. Like, you're not scaring me. But unfortunately, Erica is scaring Sutton. And we're going to talk about Sutton just a little. We're going to talk about Sutton, right? So Erica then asks him, do you want to get sued? No, I don't want to get sued. So then DORIT says, but that's what we're trying to say, Erica. You know, you say that, but that's what we're worried about. Is can we be implicated in this? Can we be drugged into this? DORIT, shut your ass up. DORIT is actually working my nerves. I'm so happy that GARCELLE next week is going to tell her, shut the hell up, DORIT. Dorito. So, she said, well, she actually said, you know, she says, you know, that sounds like a threat. That sounds like a threat. And Erica's like, it's not a threat. That's a promise. That's a promise. Because I don't know if Erica was trying to say she was, you know, she could be sued for saying that she doesn't believe that the shit about Tom. Unless it's libel or slander, which neither one of them are, what is Tom going to sue for? Because we have questions that his mental capacity is not what they're trying to say his mental capacity is. Is that what you're trying to say, Erica? Because if that's what you're saying, girl, go to hell. But she says that, you know, we didn't want to be in this situation. Shut up, DORIT. Ooh, my bad, y'all. Ooh. I'm going to be honest with you guys. So I'm not feeling too good right now because just as I got to the park, I was leaving the crib. My stomach was like, I got in the car and I started driving. I'm like, ooh, my stomach is queasy. Then I made it to the park and oh, Daisy, my stomach is cramping. I threw up at the park. So I'm going to try to get through this as best as I can, but I'm going to let you know right now that I don't feel that well. But let's go on ahead and move forward, right? So, you know, Erica says that DORIT should be quiet. Okay, I agree with that. But Kathy tells her to calm down, which is exactly, girl, calm down. It ain't. I mean, it's bad. But like I keep saying, week after week, I'm really over us making Erica the victim. Erica is not the victim. Like, yes, Erica was drugged into this, but she's by no means is she a victim. So I want us to stop doing that. That's the one thing I need us to stop doing. There are actual victims out there that are victims, not Erica. Erica's not one of them. Like, those people went through traumatic events, awarded money. Tom stole the money from them. But now we're going to sit here and pacify Erica? Hell no. I'm not doing that. So then she tells Sutton, you call me a liar again and I'm coming for you. I would have said, okay, bitch, what you going to do? What you going to do to me? Bring it, Bobby. Bring it, Bobby. Like I would have said, bring it, Barbie. Like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do to me? Like, what you gonna do? I would have called Erica's bluff. I really would have. I would have called her bluff. But unfortunately, Sutton didn't. So Sutton actually got up and left. So, you know, the ladies following behind her, with the exception, I believe, of DORIT, and I think it was only people that I don't think following behind Sutton was DORIT and Crystal. I know Crystal sat at the table. So Garcelle at that point, she finally, you know, she was out there with the ladies and she defended her friend, right? And she specifically said to Kyle that you guys have revved Erica up, and that's why this has happened, which is true, right? They have revved Erica up. And the person that I think is, Kyle is complicit in it as well as of revving Erica up, but we got to give it to number one person. So who do I think has been revving Erica up the most? Rinna. I think Rinna has been revving Erica up. I think it's been Rinna. So Crystal is talking to Erica, and Erica is still standing firm in what she said to Sutton, right? Like, don't call me a liar, because she's already going through a lot. She says here, like, my thing with Erica, which we'll discuss in a little bit, right? We'll discuss it because PK talked about it. My thing with Erica is, can you at least once mention the victims? Like, that's the thing I have issue with. Can you at least once make some kind of a mention to the victims? Because the little mention that you made to the victims was shitty as hell. Like, really make a conscious effort to say, hey, yes, I'm going through this with Tom. I'm going through this divorce with Tom. All these lawsuits keep popping up, and my name is being drugged through the mud, right? But at the same time, you can say, what I'm going through pales in comparison to what those victims went through, right? The plane crash victims, the woman with the breast augmentation, within the defective breast implant, the young man that was on the motorcycle, the young man that was in his house, like all of them, the cancer patients, like all of them, make a mention to them and not yourself. But hey, whatever. She's not going to do it. So let's move on. All right, guys. Next up, we're going to talk about Sutton real quick. So Sutton, it really wasn't a lot in this scene with Sutton. I will say one thing. That was an auction, and that shit was expensive. I'm like, what kind of auction is that? Like, I'm not used to those kind of auctions. I'm used to the auctions where you go and, you bid like maybe $2, $3, $20. I'm used to those kind of auctions. Like, I've never saw an auction where you spend that kind of... I've never been to a charity auction where you auction off maybe for a date. Though that's different, but like that kind of stuff, I'm like, oh no, that is too rich for my blood. So she's, at the auction, she's looking at the stuff for the auction with Kyle, and Kyle asked her how has she been after the dinner party. So it looked like it's been maybe a few days since the dinner party, right? So Sutton says that she hasn't been sleeping well. I'm like, what? You haven't been sleeping well because of Erica? You do realize that was an empty threat that was a very empty threat from Erica, right? But Sutton didn't sleep well. But you know what? Sutton is a white woman. Because I don't know any black woman that would have been like, girl, who are you talking to? Like, a black woman would be like, who the hell are you talking to? What you gonna do to me? The fuck? Like, they would have looked at, or what? They would have, or what, Erica, right? So Sutton says that, she had an issue with them saying she needs to say more, right? Now, Sutton, I've been on your side with calling all the bullshit out, right? I've definitely been on Sutton's side. Even though I'm not a Sutton fan, but I've been on Sutton's side. But I have an issue with Sutton because Kyle actually said something that I really agreed with, right? So Kyle said to Sutton, like, at my house, you were talking about the fact that you wanted to put everything out on the table and that you wanted to tell Erica that you thought she was a liar, right? But at the dinner party, it was a completely different story. And that's what I didn't like when it came to Sutton, right? The story, I would have backed you up 1,000%, right, Sutton? Again, don't like you, but I would have backed you up because you would have called Erica out. You would have said, you know what, Erica, when it comes to, yes, when they brought it up, I would have said, hell yeah, girl, I got a lot of shit to say. And she would have said, well, what do you have to say? I would have said, well, first, let's start with that accident that Tom had, right? It's very confusing, right? And she would have, well, what's so confusing about it? Well, the fact that you said the man went off the motherfucking cliff, he went off a cliff. He was unconscious for 12 hours. Okay. Why isn't he dead? Like, no shade, but 12 hours unconscious? And he went off a cliff? Did he not have a concussion? He broke his foot. Like, then you said he called you, but you found him. So that's what I would have said. That's story number one that I don't understand. So then she would say, well, she probably would have lied away out of that one. And then I would say, but nope, that's not it. That's not it, baby. That's not it. Also, I have a question for you about these articles that come out. Like, in La Quinta, you left early. Did you know what was going to happen? Did you get a heads up from the lawyers? And she probably would have said, no, I didn't. Well, okay. You answered that question. Here's another question for you. Tom, you said that when you left Tom, you dropped him off at work and you went back to the house, moved your stuff out, hadn't heard from him since. But in La Quinta, once again in La Quinta, you said that he calls you to Dorit, I mean not to Dorit, but to Garcelle and to Crystal. Which one is it? Like Erica would have gotten pissed off at me, but I would have asked. I would stand still in what I want to say, and I think that's the only problem that I really have with Sutton in that issue, in that regard, right? Kyle says that she wanted her to be honest, and now Sutton says in the moment. Well, Kyle, I'm saying in the moment she backtracked on what she said. Oh God. My stomach, you guys. It hurts so badly. At one point Sutton called Kyle her friend with an air quote. And Kyle's like, I'm an air quote, really? Sutton was in her feelings. That's all it really boils down to, is that Sutton was in her feelings, and she honestly has every right to be. Because, I mean, y'all really did put her on the spot. You really did, unfortunately. But let's move on. All right, you guys. Next up, let's talk about Dorit and PK. So, Dorit and PK, honest to God, they annoyed the shit out of me in this scene. Bubba, baby, Bubba, baby, oh, baby, oh, Bubba, please. Like, girl, shut up. That was so annoying to me. I swear to God, I have never been so annoyed in my entire life with those. I was like, ugh. Like, they were working my last damn nerves. So Dorit is talking about inviting the girls over because they're talking about her wedding dress line, right? And she wants to do a launch party. So then they segue into talking about Erica. I'm like, wow, y'all didn't waste no time, did you? So, they talk about Erica and Tom, and she says that there's not, Dorit says that Erica tells him that there's not much that she can say, which that is true, right? There's not much Erica can say in this situation because it's an ongoing investigation. So, rightfully so, she can't say much. And then, he asks, has Erica mentioned the victims? And Dorit says she has, but no, she has not. She has not really mentioned these victims. She's basically mentioned the victims in passing, but that was it. Erica has not really spoke on the victims. Like, let's be real, she has not really spoke on those victims at all. So yeah, no, miss me with that shit. So then, where we at? So then they start talking about her Instagram post. And the funny thing is, I actually saw one of her tweets last week. And I'm just like, damn, girl, even still with this show, with everything that's going on, you're still, it's the way she tweets, and it's the post she makes, right? And it's not even the post, it's the captions. The captions are terrible. It's kind of like when she went to the dinner party and ordered that no apologies drink. It's like, Erica, you do realize that you're basically saying fuck the victims at this point, right? Like, you do realize it's kind of like what you're doing. But yeah. So then, as much as I don't care for PK was speaking facts that she should stop doing that. Like, be mindful of what you post on social media. And even like with this legal case, like, they gonna look at it and be like, well, damn, lady, on August 14th, you posted this, you posted that. Like, do you have any remorse for the victims? Now, granted, like I said, Erica didn't steal the money, but damn, you are attached to this lawsuit. I don't even know what to say, but let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. Next up, let's discuss Garcelle. So Garcelle, she has Renna over to her home, right? So she and Renna, they're talking, and they're talking about the dinner. Now Renna, Renna wants to say that she doesn't remember anything because it was drunk Renna, and I had the bell. Girl, stop lying. You're the one that got the shit started. Like, you know full well what happened. Miss me with the bullshit, Renna, right? So Garcelle says that, she checked on Sutton, and Sutton says she's not okay. So then, Garcelle says to Renna that she feels that she, Crystal, and Sutton are off on the island basically by themselves. And it's the other four girls, which it consists of Renna, it consists of Kyle, Dorit, and Erica. So Renna says that, oh no, I don't see it that way. Well, the rest of us do. There's definitely a clique. So, and then Garcelle says that, she feels that Renna doesn't, stick up for her, to have her back, right? And Renna's like, well, I don't see it that way. I'm like, really? So Garcelle says, okay, well, let's talk about La Quinta. In La Quinta, you immediately went to Erica when that whole situation happened. You didn't say anything to me. Well, you did say something to her. You tried to ask her why did she do that, right? You wanted her to own it. Own it. Own it, baby. But you're not owning it. So then she also says, but what, and then also your launch party, right? She says, the situation with Dorit. So in Renna's interview with the producers, Renna's like, well, she happened to agree with what Dorit said at the launch party. And she, she doesn't have your back. I don't have your back, bitch. Well, bitch, you don't have nobody's back. All right. And she says it wasn't her place. Yes, Renna. It's never your place when you stick your big ass nose in shit. But, okay. I'm going to let Renna have that one, right? So then Renna wants to play this little game with Garcelle, a tit for tat. It really wasn't even a tit for tat. It was, I'm going to be petty in this situation, right? Because Garcelle is literally telling Renna how she feels. That, it's a clique. That she doesn't defend her, you give her examples. So, now when Renna got there, she mentioned that she and Harry did a little drive-by, dropped off some of, Harry's sauce that he made at the party that they had, her birthday party, right? So Renna says, well, you didn't text me and say thank you. You didn't text me and, say it was good or anything like that. But Garcelle was like, girl, I told you thank you in the moment. And then Renna talks about, and then your birthday cake? You said thank you when we brought out the cake, but when you get ready to leave, you didn't mention it. I'm like, girl, are you serious? A thank you is a thank you. Like, Renna, go to fucking hell. A thank you is a thank you. Go straight to hell. Like, you can, girl, go to hell. You're full of shit at this point. You are so full of shit. But let's move on, because Garcelle's gonna have a party and that the ladies are coming to. So everyone shows up. Renna looked a hot damn mess to me. Keeping it real with you, Renna looked a fucking mess. Them boots, that dress was a no. Now, Dorit, you're gonna annoy the fuck out of me with this whole passive aggressive shit with Garcelle. So before Renna was the first one there, right? So in this group, Renna and Garcelle are the two that are, particularly on time. And they made a bet about who would be the last one to show up. So Garcelle says Dorit, and Renna says Kathy, right? So they make a bet of $20, whoever, they make a bet. So when Dorit shows up and, Garcelle just jokingly said, ha ha, I lost the $20. I told, me and Renna betted that you would be late. I bet it with Renna that you would be the last one here. Oh, here we go again with the passive aggressiveness. Girl, that's not passive aggressive. Where are you getting passive aggressive from? Do you not know what that definition is? Like, that is not passive aggressive. She was up, she told you it was, girl, it was a fucking joke. Oh God, shut up. Now, one thing I will say about these ladies is I love the fact that they are open to trying new foods, unlike the ladies of the Real Housewives of Dallas, right? So, Dorit. Now, Dorit, you were fucked up in this situation because you asked Garcelle, because they were explaining to you guys what the food that you guys were eating was, right? So then the flowers that are behind you guys, you asked Garcelle if those were, Haitian flowers. She says no. And Kyle said those are orchards. Orchards. That's what they are. She said those are orchards. Kyle said that. She says, oh, you C-U-N-T. I'm like, well, damn. The hell? And I'm so happy that Garcelle told her basically shut up. So then Kyle tells the ladies what, Sutton said about the whole friend comment. And Sutton apologizes to her, right? So then they sit down, and Garcelle wasn't being messy when she mentioned Kyle's pants, right? That she wore when they went to DORIT. But leave it to messy Rinna to talk about it. Erica's like, when did she wear these pants? Oh, don't worry about it. You weren't there. What? Rinna stirs the pot and gets on my nerves. So Rinna, Erica, and DORIT, they eventually leave, right? So Garcelle asks Sutton, was that her first time seeing Erica? She says, yes, that was my first time seeing her. And, Garcelle says, well, do you think you'll get an apology from her? She says, I don't care if I get one. I don't want one from her, quite honestly. And Kyle says, well, I'm pretty sure she's expecting one. What is she expecting an apology for? So Sutton just says she's tired of being in the hot seat, right? Excuse me, y'all. Didn't mean to burp me off face. Now, Crystal says that she had a conversation with Erica, right? And Erica told her that there's no moving forward because Kyle wants them to be able to be in the same room with each other and it not be awkward. I mean, I'd rather them be in the same room together. They don't have to be cordial. You can be in the same room together. I can act like you don't exist. It ain't that big of a deal, right? Maybe not to me. Let me know what you guys think about it. That's the episode, you guys. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell button so you guys are notified when I drop anything else. Share the video, and until the next one, stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Wear a mask. Socially distance. Be blessed. And I'm going to catch you guys later. Bye, guys.